Y'all know we're coming under a new policy that's going to be kicked in tonight. These meetings are going to move. We're not going to be here all night. We're not going to order in so we can stay. We've been too long. My fault. I'm going to try to do better, and we got to have this going. Thank y'all for coming. And I knew that was coming.
And we got a conference to go to at 6, so let's boogie.
Let's go. I'm ready. Todd, if you would, call the roll, please, sir.
Dick Kendner.
Here.
Bobby Westbrook.
Here.
Ty Peterson here. Mayor Treat.
Here.
Mike Kemp. Jason Temple.
Here.
Kim Couples.
Here.
Jamie Reagan.
Here.
We have a quorum. I declare this meeting open for business. This is our March 17th meeting that we moved because of spring break. Worked out good. So thank y'all for coming. One thing I want to say here before we get into the business, there are a lot of good things coming tonight. Been involved, and Perry has worked hard. He's got some things coming to report that we have waited for a long, long time. And a lot of people working hard out there. So it's kind of exciting. After what we've been through for the last few years, you know, we get up, then we get down, we get up, we get knocked down. And so a lot of good things coming. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from last month? If so, I would entertain a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion.
A second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Miss Rhonda, when you get ready, lady.
I'm ready.
You,
Thank y'all for letting me be casual today.
oh, I like it.
I'm at the lake, you're just dreaming.
I like it.
Here. So, but I didn't want to miss this meeting and get to report to y'all. You have received my financial pieces from Todd by email. There was not anything really unusual, drastic, anything like that. Good news is that until I send these bills tonight to the county, we're all paid up on them for receivables. You saw that in the stuff. As of tonight, we will have, according to my calculations, this is not, pretty much this is counting the bills and everything that will be sending to them. We have $3.1 million left on the ARPA funds. That's the running total. You have that sheet in front of you. You have our billing that you can see that I'm going to send tonight. I've already got it scanned, ready to press the button. $114,000 for easements and $109,000 for general operating that will go out today. And the county's been doing a great job at getting that back to us very quickly, so I expect that within a couple of weeks back. You can see the financial report that has the breakdown of our easement acquisition account, our general operating account that's there. On the easement acquisition, we started with $70,000. We ended with $42,000 in February. But just remember, this is now almost the end of March. We have added money to that. We had spent out $78,000 and received in, at that point in time, $50,000. So we're still doing well on that, and we'll be adding some money back into it. For security general accounting, general operating account was $112,000, and we ended at $38,000. Once again, just remember, we've received money in since then, so that is doing fine. And these all do go with reconciled bank statements, just so you know. The bank statements reconcile and match these. First service money market meter fees. We started out with $123,000 and ended with $140,000. There were no expenditures in February, so we just added to the total. The deposit amount was a little high because some checks came in at the beginning and the end. Sometimes they overlap like that from the cities, depending on exactly when they get them mailed in and we get them deposited. I do want to make a note on that account that just yesterday, day before yesterday, we received in a check from Salem water users that was incorrect. It was in our favor, however, but we are honest people. So we called and said, this
Yeah.
looks a little bit high. Todd did and checked it out. And there had been an accident with the billing, that it was not divided or multiplied by the quarter. So it was written just for all of their meters as a whole and not the 25 cents on it. So I just wrote a check back tonight to Salem water users to pay them back the $6,556.50, something like that, to pay them back that overage. We could have left it as a credit, but, you know, the right thing, the fair thing to do for them is to send that money back to them. So we kept the amount that it should have been, and we refunded the other amount. I just wanted y'all to be aware of that.
Good.
You'll see it next month. It will be reflected because there'll be an expenditure out of that account, but you are aware that we did that. Like I said, the accounts receivables, you can easily see that. At the end of February, we were even Steven. So we won't be now, though, because I'm going to send him a bill right after this meeting. And then the balance sheet just reflects those totals that you've seen. So didn't have really anything else to add. Any questions? I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No.
Not, I'd entertain a motion to accept.
I'll make the motion to be accepted as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. If you'll notice, if you look at the minutes, you see one, we're all old business tonight. Unless some new business comes up we don't know about, we'll take care of it. But, so let's begin that. Sean, if you're ready, let's talk about easement acquisitions. What's going on, where we're at?
All right, y'all got a little bit different sheet tonight. So Brett worked on this. Y'all were wondering what the cost was for finishing up. So if you look at the overall easements in yellow, 2.1,
See that?
probably gonna be more than that, you know, I mean, that's just the actual cost right there, so. Could be more, could be less. There's still a yellow highlighted East Line land purchases, and that's for the for sale property. And then you can see what the total will be there for all of that. So you got the 2.1 and then the 80,000 estimated on that one. And I was able to get Mr. Arthur's easement signed. Plus, that was a good one.
I worked on that one. Good job.
Yes. And we got the Wilder piece there on Beth Lane. And Brian Babers. So, and then we've got a ton of them in the works. So, y'all have any questions? Jason, does that help you a little bit?
Yeah, man, this is great. Appreciate it very much, you know, sort of about a quarter of the way there, value-wise, in acquisition. That kind of tells me where we're at. I thought we were, for some reason I kind of thought we were a little bit further down the road, but this kind of...
Well, there's a few that if we hit the big ones, it's... Yeah.
They're very expensive,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Yeah, I got you. Now, the only thing is, it does tell us total number of easements, and we got the value on those easements, but under like easements purchased, if you might add the number of easements purchased out of the total for
Yeah,
the next round.
we're right at 50,
Okay,
kind of that range.
50 out of the 180, 190. That's perfect, man, thanks.
Yes.
Any questions?
No, sir?
Nope.
Good. Thank you, Sean.
So what I like about that, Chair, is that we got $3 million left, 3.1, and looks like we're gonna be at 2.1, try to get the easements, and it kinda gives an idea of what kind of money we got left. If we were to buy all the easements just out of our ARPA funds, we got maybe $1 million to finish up design and stuff like that.
Yep.
Otherwise, we gotta find some more money.
And that money's gotta be spent by, first of the year,
Next year?
Judge? No,
Yeah.
close,
December this year.
189 days.
189 days. Yes, sir. Thank you.
$10,756 a day.
Thank you. I like it.
So,
All right. No. Engineering, update, comment,
I don't have anything new to report, we're just cranking along,
okay?
working on designs, and I've engaged all of our resources in our office, the structural engineering, electrical engineering, all those on the water treatment plant, the intake, our water line drawings are coming along, we're trucking along. I don't have anything new to report other than that.
Good, we'll take it. Next is, toll update. I'll give you some of that. We've been working with them. They contacted us at Water Users. As you know, Malvern has cut them off, so to speak, and Malvern will be a wholesale customer now and no retail. Until has to have their own meter, on maintenance and billing. So they used to be in Water Users years ago. So Jeff and I have been working on that, got them back to the table. We met on that, and we're about to get that worked out. We should have them going here before long, and then they want to be a part of this project. I called before that meeting. I called Brett, I think, and Matt, and asked them if Tull would they pass the test on how much water and we can take them, if it would be okay to get them down the road. And they said yes. So we opened that door. Yes.
At some point in time, we just need to get together with Benton.
Yes.
And talk about the logistics of that, and you know, just keep that on the tip of our tongue.
I like it. And so he is very adamant about being a part of this thing. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But it's all good with them. I don't know of a thing now we need to do. He and I talk almost every day. So let's move on to discussion on amending our water agreements if we need to. Counselor?
It's our contracts.
Can I talk about the lending situation first?
I would love to. I wanted to do that, drop down to, because I've held it about as long as I can. So I wish you would speak to that.
I think it'd go better if we
Yes,
finish in this first.
I agree.
If you would you take one and pass it down, and I'll just start? Thank you very much. This plays right into the amount that we will need to charge for water and how much this project is going to cost, both in the short term and over time. About 2 months ago, I got the board's approval, thank you, permission to make what's called a letter of interest application to WIFI. It's the EPA-run loan program that has a number of very large benefits to it. One being the time you draw down, treat it like a line of credit rather than a bond issuance. Two, shaped repayment, where we can pay interest only for some amount of time and then move on to different rates of principal. Three, it's longer in repayment horizon Then is the state revolving fund money, which is limited to 20 years. 4, there's much less capitalized interest on the front end. 5, there's a lower interest rate than what we would obtain from the private markets, and about that which we would obtain from the ANRC. Right now, it's in the high 4s all in. 6, and on a personal note, this may have been the most use I've ever put my law degree to, and I'm thanking you folks for the opportunity. The approximate savings by my weak calculations, these are approximate, will be $11.25 million up front and $14.5 or $14.6 million over time in interest. $26 million saved by going to WIFIA for up to 49% of our money. Last week, well, you may all know that with WIFIA comes BABA. And BABA is the Buy America, Build America, Buy Act. And reading through it, it increases costs according to Matt Dunn's approximations by up to 40% by having to go from 50% steel and iron sourced in America to 100% and up to 65% of all other components. That makes taking federal money in the form of this kind of a generous loan or even a grant more expensive than it would save us that money. So the comparison there is not a true one. The 40% times the cost of building, at 160, you could call it 250. I'm not buying that as a comparison. What I am buying as a comparison is what if we went entirely private market and entirely, rather than using up to 49% of our money coming from WIFIA. That $26 million, and I hope you'll tell your constituents this, works out to somewhere between $1.50 and $2 per meter per month for the next 40 years.
That's big.
These savings will long outlast me. Last week, at my request on our application, because we started this project before May of 2022, in fact, the PER drafted by Mr. Dunn was completed in October of 21, we qualified for a waiver of BABA requirements
That's money.
for the entire project. I asked them for that determination before we got back an answer whether they would invite us to apply, okay? And by invite us to apply, there's lots of things that can still not happen. There's lots of negotiations to happen. But they don't invite people like us to apply for their money and spend $100,000 with that application as an advance against closing costs unless everyone in the room is pretty certain that we're going to qualify and we're going to get the money we need. And in fact, if you look at their acceptance letter that came in today, the timing could not have been better. It says that there's been money set aside, $95 million, but not to exceed 49% of our project costs in WIFIA money. And again, on a personal level, I don't know what I've ever done with my law license that was better than this. So I'm pretty excited about that. We have to adjust. That's the downside. But the upside is those adjustments will be to the downside, the pro formas, the expectations of what we're going to have to charge the constituent entities, and in turn your respective retail customers. And y'all can brag that you did it. And I like to joke that it was only because of the inertia and inactivity of seven old white men and and this couple. It caused us to qualify for the BABA waiver, but that is big news. Any event, with that in mind, I guess I'm asking for, if you don't mind, Mr. Kentner, a resolution approving that we do move forward with application for WIFIA funds, no BABA strings attached.
You got that in writing too from them?
It's right in front of you.
Yeah, now I'm reading it.
The BABA waiver came in last Thursday, just like I asked, and before the determination that we should make application. And the notice that we have been approved, money's been set aside, and we should make application came in just this morning.
The BABA waiver came in an email form, it's not in that letter.
Oh,
Right, it's an email form.
it's a
Oh, you,
separate.
that's it.
Yeah, it's,
I'm sorry.
I already read it.
I'll get a copy. Is there an extra copy?
I've seen it.
They're all up there.
Okay. Let me go on to our engineer, if I may. Do you mind? Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. That's all I got on WIFIA, but if you all have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If not, again, if anybody cares to make a motion, I think.
Yes, sir.
I would
I will.
certainly recommend.
I will make that motion.
To
Do
move
we apply
forward.
for WIFIA funds?
Second.
Motion and second.
Hold on, before.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm
Yes, sir.
questioning, I'm supposed to be taking notes.
No, that's good, that's good. Nope,
No, it ain't good, because I.
plenty of time, we'll take that thing.
Bobby Westbrook made the motion, and here are three.
Yes.
Second. And basically, you're just making a motion that he move forward
Move forward with applying for the WIFIA loan.
with the application.
Yes, with application.
That costs $100,000,
Yes.
and we're only paying him by the hour, not by percentage. That's a win-win, man.
Mr. Temple, that's in part why I'm taking such personal pride. I'm not in it for the percentage, I'm in it for the hourly wage. And
Well, I'm very proud of you, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
thank you very much.
I know that's right.
You did good, Perry.
You did good.
Now,
Well, on those, I was emailing him at, 6:45 this morning. I haven't stopped.
while we're, Todd is looking and we're getting ready to vote, you and I talked about this the other day, the person that brought this to us months ago, sitting right out there. Thank you very much for putting that bug in our ear, Leanne.
While we're still in discussion, yeah, didn't have any thank you, but while we're still in discussion, so if we were to complete and get this loan, it won't have any BABA requirements. When can we'll be able to get this money for like during the initial, how soon do you get that money? Because, you know, like if we're trying to get the other money and we're kind of covering our interest on the other loan type stuff, does that cover that?
Fair questions. We can include past development costs as part of what BABA would be willing to fund 49% of, which means we might get some money sooner rather than later on that. They say it's a 4 to 6 month funding process, which works into our timing really well.
Yeah.
They say it can take up to 9 months if we're sticklers about details. And my hope is that there's also a separate vote, not to get ahead of ourselves, but to form some sort of formal financial committee. And maybe that should be the last thing of the evening.
Yes, sir.
But we will have access to funds within 6 months if we are an average normal customer.
Okay. All right, let's go after it, and again, this isn't signing the dotted line yet. We're going to see what we get back, going to see the terms and everything. Let's just get it. Yeah, we can get it. That's all I have to say, Chair.
Just for, and I'm just trying to remember some of the initial stipulations, with knowing that we already have the ANRC loan locked up, this will then be able to secure 100% of the funds. So we will be able to show them that between the two, we have 100% of the funds allocated. Because that is one of the requirements, is showing that you get
Yes.
If I remember correct, a month ago when I thought about a lot of other things between
That's
now.
exactly.
Their commitment, well, combined, their commitment for that 125 suits them just fine.
Okay.
Now, Jason, I think it was your question. Let me give you a slightly more refined answer to it, okay? This will not implicate BABA unless some other source of federal funds does.
Right.
For instance, if we are given an allocation, we would need to chop off the last leg of the project, the third, 1/3, if you will, from the treatment plant to the individual master meters. Mr. Dona said that's the least expensive way to comply with BABA. We could instead request that allocation, the appropriation for the reservoir itself, which will have nearly no BABA implications, but my understanding is that the federal government doesn't like artificially dividing projects in that manner where what they are giving you a grant for does not finish the project.
Right.
So saving that for the last leg of the project, so to speak, so we don't implicate BABA on anything earlier on in the project. There's a strategy here, but that's what I have now, you know. Obviously, we're going to have a financial committee of some sort, and people advising, but that's my best approach now.
It sounds like we can do this whole project, possibly not have to incur BABA. That's what I heard. I
This
like it.
fulfills everything
Yeah.
ANRC has asked us.
Right.
Just backs that up.
So we can, we can go with WIFA and NRC, or we can go with WIFA and another,
And grant,
or and whatever else we want to
yeah,
do.
yeah.
And
Stack 'em up.
the grants may implicate BABA, but we can isolate that. We can try to
Yep.
put walls around it.
Oh, I'm with you. Yeah. If we do get some grants.
Good. Any more questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. I agree. Now, Counselor, can we go back to the contracts now, sir?
Sorry, I really wasn't trying to hijack you.
No.
I really wasn't.
I really wanted that to be first.
But with that said, Matt, have we got clearance plans? No. Okay. Another handout, just like it was 1999.
You?
Okay, so with people that really know what's going on, oh, here, I have one more. In the room, speaking about, knowing about what it's going to take to get this financed, there are several provisions that we need to revise, and I guess we need to send out the exact language of the proposed revisions, its best practices, at least 10 days in advance of the meeting. So the earliest we're going to be able to formally vote on this will be the next meeting. But I would like, if I can, to get some consensus or lack thereof for 3 separate amendments to your water supply contracts, which will require unanimous approval of everyone here, plus the approval of your home board. And here goes. The first one pertains to rates. The question is whether we do in fact go to the $25 per meter per month fee that Tull agreed to join conditioned on. That's the most important one. I've set out a short, pretty roughly accurate pro forma. you can compare the $2.50 meter fee results in, roughly speaking, $5.20 per thousand. Changing the meter fee, reducing it by $2.25 necessarily increases the per thousand cost in the approximate amount of however many thousand gallons an average household takes divided by that $2.25 that you just lost. And that works out to about, I calculated it 55 cents per thousand, roughly speaking, a 4,000 gallon per month home. Again, these are approximations. These are, the real thing here is the comparison between the two, because again, these will never be more than approximations. By adding the WIFIA discount to the rates, we can get it down by at least another 40 cents. That's on the, I want to say that's on the conservative side, but let's call it 40 cents. So we can either have a meter fee of $2.50 with an approximate water rate of $4.80 per thousand, or we can have the reduced meter fee, as we agreed to do as an inducement to bring toll into the group, resulting in $5.35 per thousand gallons. Again, an approximation. Pros and cons. This is the only real discretionary modification that I'm putting to you. You can agree to do what you said you would do to induce toll to join, or if all 8 out of the 8 are unwilling to go to the $2.25 per meter fee, if anyone is unwilling to, then we can't change that, and that becomes an impediment to toll joining. The second, and I don't know if you want me to stop, but the second, modification to the agreement, that would follow whatever was decided with respect to the first, and what toll decided to do if you didn't decide to go back to your respective boards with the lowered monthly fee. You add toll to the mix, and you just have some slightly revised numbers that would be included within Exhibit 2. And then lastly, this one is pretty much according to the folks that, are prepared to lend us money on the non-negotiable side, and that is 7.05, Todd and the Benton Agreement. It's paragraphs, Mr. Peterson, it's 11, 20.1 plus 21. That's where the financial and timeliness contingencies are contained within the Benton Agreement. Same language, different format. But again, it's 11, 20.1, and 21 in the Benton Agreement. I didn't put that in this handout. But 7.05, they don't want all these outs, the people ready to lend us money. They want to know this project is going to go no matter what. That doesn't remove anybody's buyout rights if these milestones are not met timely. For those of you that don't know, the entity itself has the right, and Benton has a separate right, to buy the project in the event that this group fails. Those contingencies were put in here in 2022 to make sure that everybody felt comfortable we were going to get to this point right here, right now. But we're at this point right here, right now. And without the removal of 7.05 or its parallel paragraphs in Benton's agreement, while preserving your rights to step in and buy out the project if something goes deeply downhill, that's going to be needed for us to move forward. This is going to be something that your respective boards are going to have to approve for the group to move forward, and it's going to have to be unanimous. So I'm back to, and I'll sit down because I have no part in this discussion, that's amongst yourselves, but is there enough appetite to move from $2.50 down to 25 cents so as to cause each of you to, A, vote on it unanimously, and B, hopefully get your home boards to agree with that as well. It's up to y'all.
Now, did you said if all the home boards did not vote, it would stay like it is?
Yes.
They all have, all 8 of us have to vote yes here plus our boards.
Technically, I may be wrong, I don't think Todd votes on what happens with the retail contracts, but we all vote on the wholesale contracts, so with that one exception, yes.
My concern is if we change it from what we have now, some of these boards may not see fit to stay in it. Are we gonna lose any members?
Over which set of changes?
From going from a set, excuse me, changing it from 250 down to 25 cents per meter, and then raising it up to, raising the wholesale cost up that much. They may not want to pay that higher. I mean, I know it equals out, basically, but still, people on the board, our boards, if we go back and say, well, we're raising it from 480 to 575, they may pitch a fit and say, we don't want a part of it.
They may, ultimately, it's gonna be the same bill that.
I understand that, but they may not.
It's, I will say this, Dickie, at my request, you had a discussion, I believe, with Mayor Nally.
Yes.
With Mayor Nally over at
Yes.
Cole, and I wasn't in on this discussion.
No.
Can you report to the board what the mayor had to say?
When I asked him about this, he said, I can't speak for the council, but he said, I don't think they would like, not saying we wouldn't, but he said, I don't think they would like 250 plus, with a 250 meter fee plus the $5.
Because they'll still be getting some of their water service by Malvern, so they're in a position somewhat like Benton, I would suppose, or certainly like Sardis. Now, I mean, the easiest thing to do here is not to change it, like you're saying, Bob, Mr.
Yeah.
Westbrook, because to get everybody to agree on something is hard, but you will have to go to your boards nonetheless
What's the matter that way?
to get rid of section 7.05.
He has a council meeting the first day or so of April. I'm going to attend that one. And so whatever the board decides, we'll take that to them then. They'll make
Better
that
off
call.
with this one.
They're excited about getting in, I can tell you.
And here's why I think it's not a big deal to get rid of 7.05, if I may, just a moment of salesmanship. If A&RC financing has not been approved, well, we already have by this date. We've met that milestone. It's a non-issue. If the date of initial water delivery has not occurred by 8.5 years from now, I guess it's a conceivable possibility, but it's either going to happen or not happen a long time before that. If the combined cost of the project exceeds $185 million, that's the problem, okay? With inflation, with everything, it may exceed $185 million when you count capitalized interest. And then lastly, if financing can't be obtained below 7% interest overall, I don't think that's going to be a problem either, because the rates we're hearing from the private market, the rates we're hearing from A&RC, the rates we're hearing from WIFIA are all well below 7%. Well, 2 out of the 3 are well below 7%. This third one's a squeaker. But Bob's going to do everything he can for us. I can't really see a problem, except your boards are going to have to look at C and say, well, it's going to be really close to 185 million, and the lenders won't lend unless you remove that condition. We can insert an artificial higher number there, up to you, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would just simply strike it. So the point is, you're going to have to go back to your boards with the modification of the agreement anyway. The question is, how receptive would they be to lowering it to 25%, knowing that brings Tullow into the fold, and your customer bills don't really change.
And
we want to vote on something tonight?
No,
I don't
I
know.
would not. And again, I'm not a part of the finish order.
I'm not into
I think it would be important for each current board member to go back to their boards and discuss this a little bit. Because
So, yeah, because here's our thoughts, and I was just talking with Jamie a while ago. Initially, the conversation was, we were wanting to get Sardis to come in. Benton might come in someday, they're not on board, and maybe we could get somebody, get toll. And if you have that lower meter fee in there, that brings in more customers, generates more revenue, and technically, it could lower our volumetric rate a little bit, on everybody, because it's been out of burn. But they didn't come in. But toll is possibly coming in. So this, for example, my board already approved the 250 minimum with like a 480. Let's say we just keep things as they are, and we go down the road and we're calculating our revenue based on our minimum purchases. Well, let's say we want to buy more than our minimum purchase. Well, at that point in time, it's cheaper for those of us at the 250 and the 480 to buy more water, because it's 480 per thousand versus the higher $5 per thousand. So if we're in our boards, all our customers are paying that meter fee. For the folks that, like Sardis, they only wanted to do a partial of the customers were going to use it, whereas for some of us, all of our water system may benefit from this. So, I'm fine with the 250 at the 480, because I'm thinking we get a chance we're probably going to buy more water than what we set up for minimum-wise, and it'd be nice to keep that volumetric low. But I was interested in considering the 25 cent per thousand for the possibility of bringing in more entities, and that generating more revenue that might lower, bring that volumetric down possibly a little bit more. And the other thing that we need to figure in our money, I think it is, I'm not sure, is East End may not be buying water until they exercise their option. And that revenue needs to be out of the calculation until they come in, unless we know when you're coming in. And so, the hundreds or $200,000 worth of revenue that their purchases would have brought in, I just want to make sure that's figured in that 575 or 535. Just want to make sure it's in there, because we may not have it for the first 10 years.
That assumes full participation. It will be higher until it extends.
And so it's something to think about. I'd love for Benton to get in if it was, sweet, if the deal was sweet enough for you to get in there. But I've heard you say that that meter fee is a big deal.
I can tell you now, the whole reason I'm only raw water is because of the meter fee. Point blank. Meter fee, because the volumetric amount was not justified for the number of customers I had.
Right.
And so if you keep the 250 water fee, that's fine. I'll just stay a raw water member. But if I ever get to a point where I need other water and it's still 250, I will never come to, because I'm never going to get 100% of my water from this organization, and it throws my cost per gallon way out of whack. It's cheaper for me to do the expansion at my own facility than it is to come in with this organization. And I think that's the whole point with toll. I didn't realize that they're going to remain a wholesale customer. And also Sardis, anybody that, if it's like, well, I just want partial, and you're paying that whole amount, it's...
You got customers that are taking advantage of the water, but they're covering the cost of this that aren't really participating. And I get that. So, there's two things to consider. If we were able to figure out, hypothetically, toll coming in, and maybe, because we got a little bit of capacity we could still sell, but could we benefit from additional members or people buying the treated water? What would that affect that volumetric rate? But if we sit here and they don't come in, then that 250, we're all in with the 250, 489. Even if we go back to the boards to consider volumetric rate, and they say, "Oh, we're not interested," well, you're still in on the 250. Nobody's getting out without not legally.
To try to quantify an answer to your question, and again, it's not my place to have an opinion here, they both have their positives, both have negatives, but Tull is consuming 13.5 maximum million gallons a month, which is 1/25 of the entire system capacity. Assume for a minute, and I know this is unrealistic, but that the marginal cost of adding Tull is pretty dang close to zero. The pipes are there.
Pretty
So it
negative.
would go to reason that there's approximately speaking 1/25 or a 4% effect, let's call it 3% on what you're going to need to charge without that capacity being drawn at zero net cost. You know, there's a positive there, and Benton is potentially waiting in the wings that might one day want to be part of the finished water product, and Sardis may reconsider in the future. But I can tell you Sardis will never reconsider unless it's changed. Benton, I think Todd spoke for himself, will never reconsider unless it's changed. And again, you're going to have to move your boards with the request to remove 7.05.
Now, another, to really mix this up, if we were able to put down how many meters we would, in our system would be on the Saline Regional Water, and only those meters paid the $2.50 as part of their thing, that's another option. But that's a whole different rate. It's a whole different contract.
I don't think you could do that because here, I got Coors Tech. Well, yeah, all the water I'm buying is going to that 1 meter, so I'm paying 1 meter fee. Yeah, I'll pay you $2.50 a month.
Well, you don't, yeah, I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? You can't do that.
If you had like two separate systems, it's almost like, say on the Southwest, we're two separate systems.
Yeah, I agree, but
Yeah.
you're trying to parse it. Yeah, I don't know how, because you'd have to use a standardized average. I don't
Yeah.
think that would be.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, and I see where your thought went, but I just don't.
Mr. Chairman, I think for us, this second piece is pretty simple, clear. We've changed, the funding has changed, we've got the funding, but we've got to change this to keep the funding. I think my council will understand that piece. I think the other one, for me, is going to be something I need to take to our wastewater advisory. Probably ask council to be there and do a lot of educating on that piece. I think that's, of course, you guys are in the field, right? So you're digging into those weeds that they're going to want to dig into. The other one, I think is a lot simpler and clearer. And I also would think that from what I hear from our council is that they've been all in. Right, I mean, this is a really big part of the future of Bryant, so I don't know that that's going to be an issue, that first one. I think the second one's just going to take a lot more time and education on our end. I mean, I'm sorry, the toll piece versus the second part he's showing us here. So I don't know if that's an option, if we just, and I don't know if this board has to approve how I take it to my council. If this is what I need to take to my council, is that up to me to determine when I do that and how I do that? Or do we have to agree on that together?
Shouldn't we kind of agree on that so we all take the same thing? That's what
Mr. Mayor, I believe there should be 2 votes. The first being whether to, whether to change the rate computation, and if that requires waiting, that's fine. Related to that, whether to admit toll subject to their willing to change their offer if you don't pass it. And the third one being, I'm not sure which you call it, this first or second.
Right, I'm sorry.
Yeah. The third one being removal of these conditions to enable the financing to happen.
Yeah. That's the one I feel most comfortable
Yeah, we
taking
have to.
as soon as possible.
Well, suggestion, we do all at once for one modification of the agreement, and I guess this board has to determine before you even go back to what it wants to do.
Yes.
So the only reason why we're, considering the different meter fee was to bring in new members. All right, now are you saying Toll will not join us at the $2.50?
No, he didn't say that. He said that
Okay.
they will probably raise an eyebrow and might not be
Because,
250.
I'd rather see it presented to Toll like it is now.
yeah,
See what they have to say.
Yeah.
that's where I'm at now. Because where we're at right now, since Sardis didn't join, I'm kind of back to what we got now is good.
So leave it at 250
Yeah.
and 480.
You can always revisit it after you present that fact.
If they won't say no and we decide we won't let them in, we can change, but that's, I don't have any problem with this second part about the changing all the,
That's what you were saying, man.
Yeah, that's clear.
I like the approach that we don't vote on anything right now. Let's go back to Toll and see if they're interested in just joining us the way we currently have things set up.
Yeah.
So we don't all have to change our contract. Toll just has to agree to the contract that we currently have.
Mr. Temple, I think the way to present that totally would be to say the board didn't express any appetite for changing that provision. Let him, well, you can even take a vote. You can always go back on
Yeah.
reconsider it some other future time. But, while both parties are feeling each other out, taking a stance of some sort may work to the board's advantage.
And I will tell him, he asked him, so 250 plus 480.
and how much do they want per month? Have they stated how much, what do they want per month?
Yeah, he,
Yeah,
0.3.
0.3 million gallons a day, that's 9 million gallons a month.
Yeah.
Which
300,000 gallons a day.
Sir?
300,000 gallons a day is what they're,
Yes, sir.
And they may need more.
well, I'm
They
just
might-
saying that's what they said that they want right now.
I asked them when we talked about getting that number up, and they said, well, they'd rather do that one, and then it goes up. Talk to him. So, but I'm okay. Okay.
My question now is 300,000 gallons a day worth us changing everything?
Right. And it's gonna go up because they're sitting on prints and developers, they've got stocked.
I mean, everybody's could go up. I'm just saying right now, what we, today.
Yeah. Anybody else? So, not taking a vote, we're gonna leave it as it is. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
No action on that now. I will take that to Tull. I'll be at the council meeting and let you know how it goes.
All right, do we want to go ahead and take this to our board to change that?
We need to get this one out here to talk about. What was that,
705?
that needs to come out at our board meeting. Make that out.
You can do that. You can do it tonight. You can really work with the respective boards and get some consensus before it happens, but it's gotta happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't see, from our perspective, I wouldn't see a reason to wait on that one. I think that's a good way to let them know about the funding.
Yeah.
Do we think, as we move forward, there could be any additional review of the agreements that potentially could cause? I understand that this was potentially something that came to light by, I think, I'm not gonna say bond counsel, by those administering the bonds. Do we think that we need to make sure that before we go back, we need to go back to our boards with, this is everything. I don't want to go back
Yeah.
this month and get this one, and then in a few months, we find out something else needs to be changed, and go back again. I think we can just, I don't think there's an issue with removing this. I agree, but I would prefer that as we start to move forward, that, you know, and, because,
Mr. Peterson,
yep, go ahead.
I reviewed these. Benton's council reviewed these.
And neither one of y'all are a bond
Understood.
council.
Friday reviewed them.
And I can tell you, I know they have said that some things needed to be adjusted.
That is what they identified.
That's the only thing?
Yes. Ms. Bernay has looked at them, and that is what she has identified as what needs to be adjusted. Mr. Wright has had the legal department of Cruz look at it.
I've talked to bond counsel at the project firm, and, yeah, and your point is valid, and I brought that up last month, that everything that he's put together in these contracts is pretty spot on with what would need to go out into the public markets if you go that route. There's still some modifications, and Ryan Bowman said he still wants to tweak. So, yeah, I mean, if you go back in pieces, that 705 we're talking about does need to come out, I agree with that.
But I think there are some other things that need to be tweaked.
Probably you would want Friday firm blessing, not to step on your toes, but probably.
I haven't heard from them, but that's what I understood their issue was with the cap.
Yes, so they have passed, that is their biggest issue, that's correct.
Yeah, I agree, that by far, I think, again,
The way to go then is allow me to speak with Friday. Put out anything in addition to the removal of 7.05, translating into Bentonese 11, 20.1, and 21, and put out a proposed modification to the agreement that encompasses only that. In the meantime, we need to have some communications with Toll that appears to be the only modification that we have unanimity on.
Sure. So, would it be possible for you to do that with Friday Firm? Maybe email us, and then we'll have board meetings before our next meeting here?
Well, you take it up at the next board meeting, so long as the proposed changes are sent far enough in advance for you all to consider it. You'll be going back to your respective entity boards after that.
After, okay.
First, we have to get unanimity here.
Tom, I hear you saying you'd rather just get it all together, what we're taking one time, not take one thing 1 month, another, that's some wisdom in that. I agree.
yeah. And again, I think what Perry just laid out is fine, is getting back with Friday Firm and reviewing with them and making sure, and then report all those things, and that's what you were basically just saying, and before the next meeting, and then we'll look at it again at the next meeting.
That'll work.
And the only thing that I've written down that I think everybody on the board is in agreement with is that I asked you as the chairman to report back to Toll that it
250, 480.
will be leaving the rates as they, would they join leaving the rates as they are?
Yes, sir. I will, tomorrow.
And to your point, Mr. Mayor, I'm trying to make it so that after the next meeting, you will have a package with or without toll, with or without a price adjustment, and with the 7.05 and anything else that the Friday Firm thinks needs to be tweaked.
I like that.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. One more right. All right. RFQs for municipal advisor. We got, Perry, I'll touch on this and then you can go right to it. We received 3 and last week. Raymond James, Cruz, and Leanne from Stevens are our 3. Now, Perry, if you will go ahead when you get ready, and let's talk about this. It's going to be a pretty important part of this puzzle.
To be a little bit more specific, Cruz has sent in not a response to RFQs where they are asking for the work. That's why it wasn't included in the email I sent to everybody on the board today. What they did was indicate that they hope to be the people issuing the bonds, and they have, the right purchasers, and because of that, they do not feel that it would be appropriate to engage as our municipal advisor or financial consultant, which both carry the same definition.
I agree.
They're both fiduciaries of the entity, and you can't be a fiduciary to both the entity and the bondholders at the same time, being on two sides of the same equation. So Cruz just wishes us to know, and Bob, why don't you take a minute? Cruz wishes us to know that they perform these services as part of their pro forma generation.
Yeah, I talked, Perry, I appreciate it, and we will be brief. I talked to Perry about the RFQ and told him that the work that we presented to you and that we presented to Dickie and Perry a number of times, in going out and finding, if we go to the public market, in conjunction with WIFIA or the state, we're acting as in a best efforts basis to bring something to the table so that we know that there is some funding in place when Matt and them bid the project. Our hands will be tied if we've got that municipal advisory type of designation. We can't have those direct conversations in placing the debt, underwriting the debt, and whatnot. So we could not bring to you that we did last month with that type of limitation. So as I told Perry, it's like we do want to be responsive to the RFQ and tell you that we want to continue to working with those people that we've talked to, continue to dive into the amazing job that Perry's done in bringing the WIFIA funding to the table, looking at what WIFIA provides, whether it's the funding, whether it's a credit wrap, which they can do, they can subordinate, they can wrap their debt around existing debt. There's all sorts of opportunities that go into the calculations of math that, again, we can't, as a fiduciary then, we're limited to go back to some of the investors that we've talked to, and that funding basically would disappear. So as we respond, it's like we would prefer to be in that role as the placement / underwriter to where we can continue to do and provide to you what we've so far have done.
Good.
Thank you, Bob. Among those that did respond, we received 2 positive substantive responses. One from our friends at Stevens, Ms. Leanne Bernay, and she has listed obviously her qualifications, and those are the people, her team, that are in the Stevens RFQ response that I had sent earlier. And the Raymond James, Cheryl Schluterman. Is there a representative of Raymond James here? I would point out that Stevens has Ms. Bernay here as she has been. Raymond James does not. That said, they have a similarly deep bench in terms of being municipal advisors and have provided a competitive RFQ response. The procedure at this point would be and you can always table it for a month if you prefer some time to evaluate between the 2 RFQ proposals. But either this month or next month, designate a representative of the board, preferably a board member, to visit with the representative either of Stevens or of Raymond James, and you have to select one of the 2 and see if something can be negotiated in terms of the scope of project and pay.
I would like to ask the board if we could act on this tonight and elect that one. And also, this committee, I'm going to ask them for shortly. Financial committee. This financial advisor will be with that group, and so I would entertain a motion if anybody's ready to vote on a financial advisor from these two.
Jake Dickey, you
Yes, sir.
haven't even negotiated it.
I know,
What you are voting on
yeah.
is the pursued negotiations with either Raymond James or with Stevens.
You're picking the
Most
party that you feel is most qualified, and you start those negotiations.
Right.
That's what you are doing it based on merit.
I'm ready to vote.
So
Just saying.
I just got this today, and in order for due diligence, we need to each study this and then come back with a recommendation who we think is most qualified, and then the board makes a decision on who to work with on that. So, Mr. Chairman, I don't think we can
Vote.
vote on that today
No problem.
to do it justice.
All right,
And I-
everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
I still have, I still have some questions, what was the purpose of getting a municipal advisor? My understanding is that the municipal advisor would help us find funding,
That's right.
and all of a sudden we got a lot of options. We got WIFIA, we've got Cruz and Associates, we've got the NRC, and maybe we find some other possible funding options and grants and things like that would help us with.
There's a lot of other things going on out there that they can do.
And that would be, that would be good. Let's say, upon the selection of a municipal advisor, we turn around and we say, well, let's just work with what we got. Let's make this project happen with ANRC and Cruz and Associates and WIFIA. Or we can do it with just WIFIA and the ANRC, if that was our choice. But if we brought in another private, like Cruz and Associates, what would be the role of the municipal advisor at that point?
That person will run any scenarios for
Yeah.
potential financing. So if Cruz brings some potential financing to us, that municipal advisor will then take that potential financing and then look at it and start to run those pro formas. They are actually working on our behalf to make sure that, yes, I agree with what Cruz is saying, here's potentially an avenue for them a way for you to save more money, and it does make sense to do it that way.
Okay.
I mean, it's literally, they are advising you on, it's no different than here, I'm gonna use it, it's no different than hiring an engineer to go out there and watch a contractor
Who knows what they're doing?
that knows what they're doing. That why, hold it, I'm paying the contractor.
Right.
He should do what the plans say. Yeah, but I better have somebody out there that knows what they're doing, watching them to make sure he's doing everything on the best interest. And they might actually have a way to potentially save money.
Yeah.
So it's the same concept,
Having-
value-added engineering.
Having an expert advisor.
That's
as you
what
go
that's
down
what
the
it
road
is.
with it.
That's what it is.
Totally agree. So let me, so,
Because I am not.
okay.
The funding source is the big one with me. There's so much out there. And I'm talking about bonds or grants, and like Bozeman and them are doing. If we had somebody that just worked on that, hunted the bonds, kept up with that and added all that other together, I think that could be very big. And so if we hold up on that, we'll hold up on the committee.
I'm with you.
And when we do that, my thinking is, I haven't talked to anyone, if we had that person, and maybe as much as Perry's done, maybe he was there, this is a board decision, I'm just talking. And then have someone off the board there, and those people actively seeking money. And no delays. Right now, it seems like we get going and then we have a delay. So maybe, if I'm thinking right, that person could make that keep moving. That's what we need right now.
Right, I'm with you.
I'm done. I'm good.
Let me just air out a little more, few scenarios.
Yes, sir.
Just because I'm not the expert here in this case, okay? So I just heard Cruz and Associates say that they would be glad to fund us, but they don't want to serve in the role as a municipal advisor. I mean, all along, we've been working with Leanne for years here, trying to figure out where to get money, and she represents Stevens, that could also provide a funding application, but if we were to select her as the municipal advisor, can we still get funding from Stevens? Or would that be a conflict?
Yes, yes.
Thank you for the question. So one of the reasons that we determined a municipal advisor would be a better role for us is we are highly regulated as an investment bank. And those who have talked to me about this project know that I have believed all along state or federal funding made the most sense for this project.
Yes, ma'am.
And what we determined internally, in our experience, particularly with federal programs, they want to see modeling and structuring of proposed debt, but they only fund 49%. Well, if we're going to propose the structure for a federal loan that's going to be complemented with bonds, that's a conflict for us. We can't do both. We're either going to, advise on the entire debt structure, or we're going to be your bond underwriter and do just the bond piece and find you investors for those bonds.
So you could do both?
We could not do both,
Okay.
and we are requesting to serve as municipal advisor. We
Okay.
feel like we could best serve you in that capacity.
Okay, so, in the scenario that we had possibly you as a municipal advisor, and we go with Cruz and Associates for some of the private funding, that we'd have all that ethically, no conflict, expertise to kind of, in that scenario.
Correct.
But if we went, so Stevens would not even be, if we were to hire you, Stevens would not even be an option for us to consider, basically.
Not as bond underwriter.
Okay.
No, we would be municipal advisor.
Okay. I don't know what else to ask. That's my question.
So, let me just clarify. I feel like, Bill, you said you're already doing a lot of that work for us. If we went in this direction, does it hinder your work at all that you're doing for us?
I won't say that it hinders, no. We have a long-standing great relationship with Stevens. I'm the municipal advisor at City of Hot Springs, they're the underwriter.
Okay.
They're the municipal advisor at Bentonville, I'm the underwriter. So we have a great relation, so there's no problems there. And as she said, the same thing that I'm saying is, there are limitations on what we can do if you're the advisor. So that's why we stepped away and said, we don't want to be the advisor, because we can't go talk to these tier 1 accounts that we've been talking to. But have we been running the models, and have we, in taking all that Matt has and building that all in to see what the wholesale rate and the minimum takes, that's all the same thing that we're doing. The WIFIA information came in, that's brand new. But obviously, what works best with the private bond market in matching up with WIFIA and or the state, and or whether it's a credit enhancement versus funding. There's all sorts of avenues that we are doing and we're looking at, and we've got the expertise. Do they have the expertise to run that as well? Absolutely. So we can't sit here and give an opinion that you don't need a municipal advisor. What we've been doing is, essentially acting that role without our hands tied, so that we can go out and find those funding sources. So your decision, if you decide to go with Stevens as your municipal advisor, does that shut us down? It does not. We work with Leanne and say, here's, and she sat in on some of the meetings where we've shown, the structure and who we've been talking to and all that.
Yes, sir.
So that doesn't slow us down. But, we would then come in, we would hope and have a defined role to say, okay, you've got a municipal advisor. Cruz, you would be the underwriter / placement agent. And whether we go with WIFIA, state, and or bonds, at least we all have a defined role and know what we're doing.
So let me ask you, Jason, I'm not an expert in this. When we start applying to the federal stuff and we've got to turn in a model, are they looking, where'd that model come from? Is it the people who are underwriting bonds? Is this from a municipal advisor? Do they just want the information that we've modeled it and we have our ducks in a row?
They're getting it from your board attorney right now. So, yeah, are they looking at At who puts the name on the model, not necessarily, no. But they are looking for that interaction of, here's the proposed financing, here's all of those numbers, and here's how it all works.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, when I made the WIFIA letter of interest, the requirement was that there be a modifiable Excel spreadsheet using formulas. They have what they need to say, you know what, you left off this 0.3% issuance cost, we're gonna add this line item right here. They have it completely manipulable already in their head.
There are very few, if any, systems like this that have someone doing that kind of work in that kind of detail. What he sent us has been, it's been good, but then we take it and modify it into what the capital markets, the public markets look at. But again, as he even mentioned when he was talking, you know, so the state limitation on one of their programs is 20-year amortization. One of them is still 30. We're looking out at 40 years. There's still a lot to look at and model and plug in. You know, so again, if you go the route and engage Stevens, Leanne as your municipal advisor, does that shut us down? It does not, because we're all in the same boat. We want this project to work.
Yeah.
She brings expertise, we bring expertise. There's some things we'd have to change, modify, if that's the formula and how it's set up.
All right. Thank you, Bob, very much. Yes, sir.
Last time I'm gonna stand up on the topic, I promise. If all we're doing is making a decision to pursue discussions with one of the two submitters, that may be a vote you can take tonight, because you're not committing to them. You're committing to choosing one out of two to engage in initial discussions with.
So we can choose one out of two and then go into discussions and then vote when we come back?
Yep.
I'm okay with that. Anybody else?
That's up to y'all. That's a decision you need to make.
Anybody else?
I meant to get you the
I'm at a better place right now after
Yeah.
having that conversation.
Yeah. No, me too. I'm okay with that, Perry. Anybody else?
that's up to y'all.
No.
Somebody needs to make a vote to either pursue discussions with Raymond James or with Steve.
Yes.
I mean, for discussion's sake, and for where I understand, where I'm sitting here now, understanding how this works, I don't want to limit us to have any type of competitive getting the best deal out of this process, because I don't understand how it works, but I'm comfortable with making a recommendation to select one of the applicants to discuss possible negotiations at this point. So I would make, if you want me to,
We're initiating discussions with the preferred party is what you're asking.
Yes.
that's exactly.
We're not
what I'm about to-
selecting them, we're just
Yes, right.
discussing.
So if we need I'll make a motion with my preference on the selection. And it can carry or not carry if that's how you want to do it.
It should carry.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we consider Stevens' qualifications for further determination on whether to pursue hiring them as a municipal advisor or not.
Second.
Motion second, any question? Not all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Thank you. I agree.
And the second and final thing I'll say on this topic, Mr. Kent here, please, is we're going to, if I may suggest, Matt, I'm volunteering you, if I may suggest, we need, if we're going to have a finance committee, Leanne and me is a great place to start. I really would like to have the guy that's running the numbers on the actual construction costs as part of that. That would be Mr. Dunn over here. And we do need one board member.
I agree.
That is not me.
No. So, let me ask you this, Counselor, do we have to take Matt or can we take Brett? I'm just a question.
Can I volunteer my partner, Terry?
Yeah.
I'm out.
Maybe a dumb question, but if Cruz is gonna be doing a lot of work for us. Could they serve on the committee? A
They wouldn't be
member?
on our committee, we invite them to every meeting if that works, but it wouldn't be, they're not your employee.
Gotcha.
They're the trustee
Understood.
or the bondholders.
Understood.
I'd like to, see, I just don't know about that. What I'm envisioning is we're going to hire a municipal advisor, and then we're going to turn around and see what the market will provide, in, Cruz and Associates and possibly some other entity, and find out what the best deal is for us. I mean, if that's the process. I'm treating it like an engineering project, but I don't know if that's the right way to do that or not.
Well, I think it's going to be, the financial advisors will be evaluating all types of different types of avenues.
Right.
I mean, and that's what Bob was actually pointing out, was all the different types
Right.
of financing potentials there are out there, and evaluating those and bringing them back to us.
Sources, all sources.
I would say they're sources.
Sources.
It's just different.
Yeah.
Because
All financial.
we have an avenue through Cruz and Associates and all of their capabilities, but and we're going to give up Stevens as a possible avenue, because we're going to hire, if we wind up hiring them.
Question.
I would just like to caution the board, the authority, the committee. I would be careful that the members of the committee do not have a conflict. And quite frankly, your engineer is a vendor to the authority. So although they will absolutely be advisors in terms of construction costs, I'm not sure they need to be a committee member. Likewise, your bond underwriter, important source of information and part of the capital stack. But again, they're conflicted because they sell the bonds to bond investors. So I'm not really sure in terms of committee members, Perry, how,
What about mayors? How do they figure in on
I
it?
like that idea.
who, I'm sorry?
What about mayors? How do they figure in on that, Leanne?
It's like Joe
They
Manager.
love.
I'm willing, I'm definitely willing to serve, of course.
Mr. Mayor, we're happy to have you.
Okay?
Don't get down.
And again, nobody suggests that Mr. Wright needs to be a member of the committee itself, but I do stand behind the idea that somebody needs to be there from the engineering department to figure out what it is we need, maybe as a guest, maybe not in a formal capacity. But it needs to have a board member, at least one. And we need to be able to do things more
Yes.
frequently than once a month.
So, we want to do that now? Set that committee, wait till next month? I'm listening.
Yeah, I'd like to get out of here. So
Me too, that's what I'm looking at.
Why don't we, can we table that till next month?
I'm okay. Hold that thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's definitely on Mayor Tree's definitely on the committee, but everybody,
Yes.
I like to just kind of
Should be.
think about the rest of it a little bit.
All right, let's move along. Did good. Here you have a quick response on the for sale property, where that update on it. We know about where it's at. Sean touched on it a little bit. We should be about,
They asked that we be able to, in lieu of justifying approximately $17,000 worth of specials now, that we enter a lease that is good for the length of this for sale's life, and it's exercisable on an option to purchase, recordable at that time for the remainder of the purchase price, roughly speaking, $62,000. I'd much rather just buy it. It seems simpler, and that seems unnecessarily complicated. It may be the way to get to where we need to go, though.
okay, all right. So, what about Senator Bozeman? There was a request, you talked to him, that is the last thing. Could you touch on that just a second?
That's at the top of my to-do list. I have the first 4 pages of the application
Okay, good.
completed. There's another 8 or 10 pages.
And then that will go into this committee and all, that's where that'll wind up, if I'm thinking right.
We need to make application by April 4th.
We got to do that?
I mean, I made the WIFI application.
Yeah,
But again, I'm happy to circulate it, and if you'll confine your comments back to me, instead of engaging in a reply-all discussion, I think I can make whatever changes to the application you all want to see, and integrate them.
Everybody okay with that? Good?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Perry.
I'm gonna,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna struggle with that one a little bit. Because of the potential, the implications we are not aware of that potentially becoming part of the hitting ballot. And I'd hate to submit an application, and then Bozeman go out there and get us the money, and then we say, sorry, we're not gonna take it. That would be egg on our face.
Bozeman would have to understand, wherever you go after, it has to be BABA free, right?
The last leg of the project is $37 million approximately, according to Matt and the pipelines to our individual systems. I'm expected to come up with explanations of what we would do with $15 million, $10 million, or $5 million. Those discussions I still have to have with Matt, but we're going to concentrate on that last leg. It will, with certainty, get us more money than we will end up spending as a result of the marginal impact of BABA. You with me? So what we're going to do is only apply for that last leg of the
But at the
project.
last meeting, I remember him stating that potentially they have not confirmed that you can separate it. So you're saying you're going to separate it, but you could potentially pull in the whole project.
And if that happens, we have the right to not take the money.
Well, I think you can figure that out before we go too far down the road, couldn't you?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. We need to make sure that's not gonna create a problem.
But he's submitting it April 4th. You're
Oh.
submitting this application April 4th.
That would be the deadline.
When's the next deadline?
April 4th next year.
Good deal. Gotcha.
I mean,
We've got his staff working for us. They've
I
indicated they will
understand.
divide projects along reasonable grounds, so long as it ends in a product delivered to an end user.
Well, if we go down this road and our biggest regret is exactly like you say, and we decide, no, we don't want to do this, what's the consequences? I mean, you think Senator Bozeman is going to come kick our butt, or what do you think the consequences would be? It's a risk. What's our risk in going down this road? Will we have any regrets?
I would regret it. I meet with him yearly. I mean.
And he's going to say,
you
I did all this.
Some bridges.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they will remember that if they stand up for you trying to advocate for something and get you money, and then you turn around and say, never mind, appreciate your help.
Good point.
The
It's a
only
good
thing
point.
we can do is collect as much information as they're willing to give out.
I understand, Perry, and I know what you're doing, but again, that's why at the last meeting it was, we're just going to prepare it, because not knowing, at that time, there was not a deadline. At the last meeting, if you remember, they were like, hey, we don't know what the deadline is, we know they're going to be sent out. So the April 4th deadline, tonight was the first night that came to light.
We got the email last week.
There you
Yeah.
Yeah, because they said, it might come out in April, March, April, they didn't know when it was going to come out, so.
And this is fiscal year 2027 anyway.
I understand, it doesn't matter what fiscal year
We're
it
waiting for
is.
the money. You know, I've made it clear in discussions with Ms. Smith, Shannon Smith, the legislative aide, and I've made it, I think, pretty clear in the application that we're only applying for this for the last phase of a multi-phase project. Even the EPA, who is loath to divide this into phases, if you look at their acceptance letter on the BABA waiver requirements, they divided it into the 5 different phases of our project, each of which they identified specifically as being exempt from BABA.
Can we free Perry up to fill out the application pending, knowing it's not gonna draw the entire project in, that we know we can divide it into a section. He just filling out paperwork, getting it prepared,
It's gotta be
Yep.
submitted before our next meeting.
but I'm just saying, let him do his work pending, knowing that fact, that he can apply, or we can apply for that last stage. Is that,
All I can go is with the information they are willing to share in advance of making that application. If I'm getting a bad feeling about it, short of calling a special meeting, don't really know. We do need to make the April 4th deadline unless this will screw up the whole project. Would that be accurate?
sure.
Totally agree. And if you sit here right now and say, it will not screw up the whole project,
The indications I've heard it will not. But Todd,
just use a word in front of your statement, your indications. I'm not,
they're not committing to us in advance on any set of hypotheticals.
I agree.
There's no amount of time.
And I thought they said in the past that they found that it has broadened in all parts of the project.
That's because whoever applied for it was doing something like our reservoir where it doesn't deliver a final product at the end stage. That is one of the criteria. And that's what gives me the good feelings about it. I can go with the information we have and send an email if I don't have, but I'll send an email with the degree of certainty that I am looking at as of April 3rd, that this won't draw on the entire project. And I'm not going to recommend we make the application unless there's a pretty high degree of confidence, 95% or better, that we're not going to pull in the whole project. And we can always turn it down, meaning there's a 5% or less chance you would have to say, Senator Bozeman, we didn't realize the whole project would be pulled in. We'd like to withdraw our application and free up your money elsewhere.
Can Shannon help you any with that? She deals with
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah. I guarantee you she will. She's really good at it.
Just remember, Perry, you're here. All right? We want you to stay there.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
I'm just kidding.
If we get a full $15 million and it screws up the last part of it with respect to Baba, we're still money ahead.
Yeah,
That's true.
that's true. Very true.
That's true.
All right, thank you very much.
Do you need a vote for him to move forward with that? Or is it just, because we all have a verbal understanding of how this is going to move forward?
Yeah. You okay with that without a vote?
It is a financial move.
It's an application
Yes.
for free money that doesn't cost, I would still feel better with the vote, to go ahead unless the signs show that we're not getting a clear answer, it won't screw up, bring Baba onto the whole project.
That way you can say the board voted.
Yes.
Yeah,
If it
and don't forget,
goes south.
Mr. Peterson, I'm gonna mention the Baba waiver that's in the WIFIA program as an indicia of why they too should give us a Baba waiver.
That's right. That'd be a good start. Should. All right.
Yeah, I'd make that motion, make the application contingent on the clarity of the Baba waiver. Is that good language?
If it's anything other than clear, I'm coming back to the board.
Second?
Yes. Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I agree. All right, that's about it. Public comment, anyone here would like to speak, ask a question, anything? All right, thank you very much. Anything else? Not, A motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do it, Jim.
Thank you. 6:35.